Well, just 8 weeks out from Christmas, there's trouble brewing on the waterfront. Workers will be protesting across Australia today, including a march through Sydney CBD, which will be replicated in cities around the country, demanding the introduction of a national safety code. It follows the death of a wharfie just last month, when 20 tonnes of aluminium fell on him. Mick Doleman is the Deputy National Secretary of the Maritime Union, and he joins us here in the studio this morning. Mick, good morning to you. What sort of safety improvements are you looking for on the waterfront?
Well, what we're looking for is cohesive national regulations that apply both in the state and federal jurisdictions with the agencies that oversee it. And we're on the cusp of getting agreement on that with all of the employers. And on 24 hours after Greg Fitzgibbons was killed, as you just described, the employers pulled the rug on it, led by Shipping Australia, which is a company that doesn't represent Australian shipping, represents foreign shipping and do not employ any waterside workers at all. They pulled the rug on a national code of safety that would have been a breath of fresh air through our stevedoring industry.
What can a code of safety bring that the safety regulations currently in place don't have?
Well, they don't have harmonisation. They don't have best practice, so one state will do something different to another. There's no venue or organisation for sharing experiences in the stevedoring industry, and we believe that having a national code that is recognised by all of the jurisdictions around the country gives us a common level playing field for all the operators, so safety doesn't become a cost centre where they're competing on the lowest common denominator.
Well, it sounds perfectly reasonable. Why are the companies balking at it?
Well, look, they're all running away at 100 miles an hour, with the exception of the Shipping Australia, who has an international shipping membership. We will be campaigning today. I mean, here's a photograph of this young lad, Greg Fitzgibbons, who was at a memorial for other stevedores that were killed within the last 2 years, himself now a victim of it all. Yeah. He is so remembered by his family. His 2 young children are coming to march today because they believe they lost their dad, sure. That's not going to change anything, but they want to make sure that no other waterside worker suffers the same terrible fate.
Are the companies still at the negotiating table with you?
There are some that have distanced themselves from this approach by Shipping Australia and others, and we'll be having more discussions with them. Let me just say, we're not stopping work. Waterside workers and supporters of our code of practice who are on leave, off duty, are demonstrating today in the interests of safety on the waterfront.
Very responsible, so we won't see any disruption at the waterfront at all?
None whatsoever, I can guarantee that.
Obviously, when you talk about waterfront difficulties, 8 weeks out for Christmas, the concern is for Christmas itself and the supply of stocks. Are we likely to see this escalate in any way?
To all those kids out there, Santa Claus will come. There'll be no disruption on the waterfront as a result of this. We'll be dealing with this through appropriate means, getting public support, getting support from the regulators, and we'll be going back to those employers who are a bit recalcitrant in this area to get them on side.
We're seeing, particularly in Sydney, an amazing amount of automation at Port Botany. Is that part of this whole scheme that you're trying to achieve, or does it add to the difficulties of achieving a safety code? It's
a separate issue altogether. Patrick's have determined that they will bring automation into their terminal in Port Botany, as they have in Brisbane. In some cases, automation does produce a safe workplace. But we have a different view about the merits behind their decision to bring in automation at this time.
And it's just do you think it's just a cost factor as far as the companies are concerned?
Well, I think they're doing that. We negotiated with Patrick's for 2 years to conclude our enterprise agreement. Not one word in 2 years did they tell us that they were going to bring this automation in. 10 minutes after we sign off on the agreement, hello, they're going to bring in this automation. So we think there was some skullduggery at foot, quite frankly.
All right, Mick, thank you for coming in. Mick Doleman from the Maritime Union of Australia.